So that information, as much as you can gather from the elders now, and you can have information to share with the posterity of the future, because we done went through some real tumultuous times in this 500-year protracted struggle against these foreigners. And we so clouded by the enemy that we don't even know who the real enemy is.
Yes, sir.
You know, they look like us, but they ain't us. And they point to somebody else saying that's the enemy.
Mm. Hey,
Absolutely.
hey, thanks for the question, Dr. J.
Thank you so much. You all be safe, and may peace be upon you.
All right, brother. Peace. All right, shout out to that brother right there. Let's we got Anunnaki Ra.
Yo, what's good? What's good?
What's good with you, guy? What's good?
I had a question, man. I just want to say I appreciate y'all for doing what y'all do. I'm kind of new to the channel. I just started about 2 months ago, but I'm from Chicago, and what hit me was, when Rod say I'm Mississippi clay dirt walking, cause my grandma from Mississippi, she from Tutwiler, Mississippi. My grandfather from Jackson, Mississippi, and then that's on my mom's side, and then I got my on my pop's side. They Gualagichi, but her last name is Manuel. But we don't have the hyphen L. So kind of what I want to ask was, how do I understand that information? Because she said her father was a healer and he used to heal with his hands. The Manuel side. Now she said her father would always tell her when she was younger that their name was Manuel, and it was always a hyphen and an EL. So I'm just trying to understand that they kind of indoctrined by religion and Christianity. My grandmother was she was a teacher for 35 years for the Chicago Public School District. So they kind of indoctrined in that. And anytime I try to ask her really about her history or anything like that, she got a lot of pictures, and it's of a lot of prevalent people. They all got suits on, they ain't not no slaves or none of that. And we can go back to like the 1890s, 1890s, 1880s, and it's just a lot of people of prominence. So I'm just trying to understand how I can pull that information, kind of like the last question bro asked. How
Yeah.
can I get that information?
You need to do the search on the name, because somebody in your family changed your name to match a biblical name. The name Emmanuel, or Manuel as how we pronounce it, because we never pronounced in our original language the vowel before the consonant. So we would
Okay.
see the vowel before the consonant. If it's not a double vowel, no vowel will get pronounced. That's how we spoke. So when they saying Emmanuel, they just gonna say Manuel or Manuel,
Right.
because of the linguistics that we are genetically predisposed to. And Manuel mean God with us, which goes straight to your grandfather being a healer with the power of touch, right? That mean that he was probably a Hayoka high chief. There's the closest thing that you could study to understand what he was, but he was from a different tribe than the ones who called themselves Hayoka. But all of the tribes have a priest class in their tribe. In your tribe, in your historical record, your grandfather was a healer, a medicine man, just like mine was. My mother's father was the one of the most prominent healers on the land until he passed away in the late 60s.
Mm.
Right. And so all of his um, um, clients, they came from all parts of the country. So he was known,
All right.
and this is a cultural phenomenon that many of us overlook when we do our research, because it tells you when you running across ancestors, Sonny Boy and them, Sonny Boy was the chief. And they tell you about Sonny Boy, Son Williams, and all of these different names. The son mean the chief. He's represented as the light of the family by calling him Sonny,
Mm,
right? And we get the modern understanding of it, and we thinking 5%. Maybe it just sons you. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't
right,
the
right, right,
same. You know
right.
what I'm saying? It's the old ways that we used to do things coming into birth in the new age of how we do things currently. And then you got to make the connection between the two. So your family's name, Manuel, they was telling y'all that it was a high priest or a high chief in your family who they gave that name to first. So trace the name back, you're going to find where they changed the name. And the name of the one that they changed was the one that they was saying was a manifestation of the force of God in the human body.
See, it's weird though, just because my grandmother's mother.
Hey, Anunnaki Rob, we're gonna have to get to the next question, so I just want to let you know that, you know, but you can say something real quick, but I'm gonna have to, yeah.
No. Yeah. So my grandmother's mother, she got married to this 80-year-old man, which was my great grandfather, and that's how they got the Manuel name. So last question. Where do you think the last name Sims come from? You think that got any correlation with the Seminoles?
Yeah, it's actually the name Simmons.
That's my grandmother's last name on my
Right.
mama's side.
It's a Latin term. Seminole is not a tribal name. It's the name that the invaders gave us.
Right. She
We
is
was
light
calling
skinned
that
too.
this the same as the Gullah War and the Seminole War, the same war. If the native is telling it, it's called the Gullah War. If the invader is telling it, it's called the Seminole War. They say we were runaway slaves. We telling them we ain't never been nobody's slave. So now when the youth get it, they don't know how to distinguish who telling the story and who was the slave and who wasn't.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. Okay.
Hey, I appreciate the call, Anunnaki Ra.
Y'all be safe, man. Appreciate y'all.
You too, my brother. Peace.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's keep this thing moving. Shout out to that brother right there. Let's get a sister on here. I see we got Ash in the back. What's going on, Ash? What's your question?
Peace. What's up? What's good? How you guys doing?
All right.
Good. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Rod? I always love when I catch your shows, man. You always bring in that knowledge, that fire. I always feel so enlightened.
Oh, I'm glad I can help.
So my question is, do you guys have an event? I know, Rod, you have an event coming up, but do you guys have something that you are planning together anytime soon or in 2025?
The only event that I got is going to be close to home. I think one of the family down in Detroit want me to come down there, but I don't have. Right now I can't go distance.
Yeah.
Right. So I got to do whatever I do. It's got to be shuttle close, like almost.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Real close to where you at.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to tell you happy birthday, Black Magic, or Brother Rich.
Yo, Rod, yesterday was my birthday, Rod.
Man. On the eclipse?
You're on the eclipse.
On the eclipse, right?
That's
some powerful
right
energy right there. That's some powerful energy.
Yesterday was a great day for me internally. Oh, it felt like heaven on earth. I felt good yesterday, y'all. Felt good.
That's what's up.
Felt good.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I just.
Any other questions, Ash? Any other questions before we get up?
No. I just wanted to pop in and say, hey, happy birthday. I love the show, Rod. I love whenever you're on. I appreciate you guys.
All right. I appreciate the call.
All right. Peace.
All right. Peace. All right. Shout out to Ash calling in. Let's get to another caller. Let me see. We got about 15 minutes left, 15, 20 minutes. Let's see if the brother Jamal, if he got it together yet. Well, brother, you there?
He on mute.
You on mute, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I can hear that.
I don't know what's going on, brother. I'm gonna move away from this Bluetooth device, but I turned it off.
Why don't you turn off?
I'm on the phone.
You on the phone?
Yeah.
Man. We have
to
get back to that, brother. I don't want to. We're gonna have to get back to you, brother. You still there, brother? But we're gonna get back to you. I just want to hurry up and get some more folks up in here. Let's get to we got Santos. Santos, are you there?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Yes, Santos. Is there any way?
Hey, brother Rod.
No, your audio is a little bad, Santos. Is there any way you could
Okay, how about now?
Go ahead. Let me hear you sound. Go ahead. What's your question, my brother?
Yeah, the question is on angel numbers. Um, and I just want to ask Brother Rod, whenever you're seeing an angel number, particularly like in the sequence 111, 222, 333s, and especially when you're going through something and you know that you see something or you're doubting yourself, and then all of a sudden you see a 333, like whether it be on a car license plate or what have you. So what should you do in those moments when you're seeing in the numerology sense?
Well, okay, so the question he asked him, Brother Rich, is when you see the angel numbers, the triple digits, what you're looking at is a convergence, right? When you see in these numbers, that's the universe putting a number there to give you information, or it's like the directions on your way to from Detroit to Chicago. If you don't read the signs, you might end up anywhere. It's the same thing with the numerology, the angel numbers. The universe put these numbers up, and you got to know what the numbers mean to know what the universe telling you. So study the numbers, and you know all of the ones. I mean, this is a new beginning. The twos mean something that begun is now taking its next phase. The threes is mastery of some sort, right? And the fours is angel numbers. Angel on the post is 444. Angel in flight is 44. The post is just the 4. Then you got the fives, the turnaround. 5 is changing. I mean, it's about to change. 55 is changing. 555 is all the way changed. It's turned around, right? So these numbers mean stuff, but you got to know what the number mean and how it relates to what you're dealing with in order for it to be useful, or else it's useless.
Indeed. Hey,
Okay.
Santos,
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
All right, my brother. All right. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's get to Sky. Sky, are you there? Are you there, Sky?
Yes, hi.
Please, Sky.
Hey.
Hey, Rod, I want to ask, what is the spiritual meaning of, excuse me, I had to shut the door. What's the spiritual meaning of blood clots? Like, after I had my first son, I developed a blood clot, and it like kept leaving and coming back, leaving and coming back.
That's physiology more than spiritual, right? So it depending on where the blood clots coming at, but it's normally a health related issue right after birth when you have recurring blood clots. But once you know what the cause of the clotting is, then you can start to read what the spiritual signature that underlies either the part of the body or the limb or wherever the clot is settling at. You can then translate, but without knowing like the cause of the clot, you can't translate. You need the cause, the location. It's just like GPS, right? It's the 3 parts to triangulate in on what the cause is.
Okay, yeah, because it's in the right leg, but they did blood testing and they said it could have came from pregnancy because they said they don't see that it came from like a factor 5 or anything like that, so they don't even know.
So normally what's happening with the pregnancy, if the pregnancy is triggering blood clots, is that your child's DNA and your DNA is clashing and you clot to contain it if it's directly related to the birth.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetie.
All right. Thanks for the call, sis.
All right, Rob, peace.
All right. All right, let's get to we got Tamara. Let's get to another sister. We got Tamara here. Tamara, what's going on, Tamara? Tamara, you on mute. You on mute, Tamara. Tamara, you on mute. You have to unmute your mic.
Okay,
there you go. There you go.
Okay, got you. Thank you. All right. Hi, how you doing, Brother Rich? How you doing?
How you
How you
doing?
doing, sweetie?
Question here. Okay, I've been doing some automatic writing.
You have the raw material.
Oh shit! Damn.
What can you tell me about the raw material? Because I did like some automatic writing. I did it like 3 times. And then all of a sudden I kept getting rah, rah, rah here and there. And then I spoke with someone else, they had the same experience. And then that's when I looked up videos, everything, and then all of a sudden it just came up with the raw material and how they a lady was able to channel the ancient astronaut and talking
So
about the long one.
yeah, so they had the lady laying in hypnosis with, I think, the Bible over her head while she channeled the raw messages, right? They're also got a set of material called the Seth material that's done pretty much the same way, right?
Jane Roberts.
Okay, so these are channels of thought forms that's still in the ethers that's always been there. And what they're doing is you becoming a conduit by which this energy can express itself, right? When you talk about Ra as an energy, we talking about for lack of a better way, the UV rays. They are the coding system for the upgrades of the planet that comes in cycles. As you move close to the cycles, the somebody somewhere on the planet is going to tap into the frequency to download the raw energy again. This is the temple priests of ancient Atlantis, ancient Kemet, ancient India. The temple priests used to do it in seclusion. Now we are moving to a collective awakening where all of the knowledge cannot be concentrated on one individual in one location, and the world have to revolve around that individual. Now we go into what's like open source data where everybody can tap into the great egregore or the universal mind. And according to your genetic frequency, you will be able to download the information that the universe has tailor-made for every individual. Yours is for you, mine is for me, Brother Rich is for Brother Rich. And then we get put together to weave this tapestry of information for other people to have their sparks of awareness, you know.
That's powerful.
So you study the raw material because you have a particular personal message that's related only to you and your bloodline. And by you studying the raw material, the message is going to materialize. It's like cream rising to the top. The more you study it, the more the message you was intended to get becomes apparent based off your character, your personality, and information that's coming through and how they sync together. You know, so it's a whole lot of other channel materials out there. I don't want to give too many of them because some people would drive themselves crazy trying to jump cross bloodlines before they downloaded their own.
Hey, well, Tamara, I appreciate the question. Tamara, let me see that book real quick before you get out. Let me see that book because I never got that book, but I always hear about it.
I don't know if I'm doing okay, that's fine.
Let me put it on the screen. So let me see, son. The Law of One, book 1, the raw material. Yeah, because I literally was just watching a video. And this white dude was talking about that book, The Law of One. So it's interesting that you bring it up today. I gotta look into that. But I appreciate the question, Tamara.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Okay, all right, take care. All right, all right.
When you talk about the law of one, we talking about the great law. It's the law of love. I don't like talking about that love shit because there's too much misery going on. But the reality of it is you can't escape it because you can't get rid of the misery until we learn to collectively embrace the love frequency. And we've been saturated with so many different doctrines of hate and division that we find every excuse not to do work with good people because they don't look right. This one redhead, that one blind, that nigga too dark, that nigga too light. You know what I'm saying? We always got an excuse. The sun gonna kill them all. If the sun ain't gonna kill, they ain't killed them all yet, then they ain't gonna kill them all. Whatever the narrative where you can pin it to a doctrine of hate, whether it's through science, whether it's through technology, politics, religion, war, they all stratagems of war. It's only to keep you from ever realizing that at the end of the day, when we get to the conclusion of this great story, It's going to be one individual sitting there having all of these different ideas as a different person personified throughout the annals of history that comes back to the one in the end, the law of one. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end.
Right.
If the first was first in the beginning, then the last gonna be made first in the end. It's the same thing. It's just a flipping of the system, flipping of the cycles, the changing of the yugas, the year, the great calendar. None of this is new. Like when you read Michael Cremo's book, Forbidden Archaeology, and he get to asking question about artifacts that's older than stuff that they telling us is old. Like that ain't even old. What about this 5 million year old footprint they found in California that's obviously a boot? You don't want to talk about that. What about this 2.5 million year old spark plug they found some drilling for oil some hundreds of thousands of feet down? It had to be millions of years according to the geology and the strata and how they determine date by strata. So when they start asking these type of questions, modern science is stumped because they only start history at 6,000 years ago. They don't start history before then. When they start history, when they start talking about before 6,000 years, they start giving it fancy names like antediluvian or pre-antediluvian, all of this type of shit. But the reality is we do this because we eternal. We create conditions and circumstances for experiences for an eternal being to experience itself as it goes through eternity. Otherwise, you'd be guys sitting there by yourself doing nothing on top of a mountain, watching nothing.
Right.
And that what kind of life is that? When you can get down into the ghetto and engage with the paupers. Some of the guys is literally sleeping in cardboard boxes behind the liquor store or in the subway on Skid Row. The guys is there because the strongest ones had to be the infrastructure, the foundation on which everything else is built. But when they get their awakening and source tell them, okay, now it's time to change the system, then they can't stay pauper guys no more. I be trying to stay po. I can't stay po. The universe keep telling me it's coming, but it ain't time yet. But we ain't gonna let you be in poverty because the pauper guy energy is reading the spiritual script raw and uncut. And it's the most disturbing shit you ever want to experience when you first start experiencing it. But as you go through it, you be realizing, wait a minute, this ain't new. I did this before. When did I do this? And then you start contemplating on when did you do this? When did I see this? Then your life start rewinding in cycles.
Right.
Then your collective lives start opening up to you. Right? So this is your awakening. We did this. This ain't new. None of this is new. It's just a chapter of misery. And if you don't feel like you don't want to be here, you didn't experience the chapter of misery. The ones who experienced it is the ones who suffered the most. That's who was intended to suffer. But now the suffering then got so comfortable that the ones that's doing all of the suffering will have a knockdown, drag out fight with you if you try to take them out of the suffering. But when you leave the physical body, the joy and the suffering is the same value to the God. There is no emotions outside the physical body. It's pure empirical data. Straight binary code system data. There is nothing for you to in-house what's called an emotional body. The emotional body is the side effect of your spirit interacting with your flesh. And you need a navigation system. So you're supposed to learn to read your own emotions as your navigation system as you move throughout your life. And then it begin to tell you, it's time for you to do this. It's time for you to do that. And this is what they're saying, doing things on God time versus man time, right? The God time is the longest taking shit because God don't got time. God time takes so long because God don't experience time. So to God, it's an instant, but to you, it's a knockdown, drag out, drawn out process. And that's because when you leave the physical body, time doesn't confine you. When you go to sleep for 8 hours, you have 100 different dreams, but you only remember the most important ones.
Oh yeah.
Right? And in that 8 hours, you didn't live lifetimes in your dream. And then you woke up and you was like, whoo, that dream was so real. I will never want to experience that again. You just remembering something you already experienced in the state of the dream. Right? So this is where all of the awakening and all of that, all of the convergence for the awakening, moving to the singularity, the law of the one, which is the law of love, versus the law of the two, which is the polarity to love, which is the opposite, which is the hate. So now you have the twin pillars, severity and mercy, right? And they got Samson tied between them, begging for his locks to grow back because he should have never told that slimy slut that his power was in his locks.
Right.
But he told her because why? A man in love is a damn fool until he realized that he's in love, and he realized that he don't have to be a fool in love. He can love without being a fool. He can become the wise man. And that's the remedy to the man in love being the fool, is when he realized, I'm not fit to be your fool. The only other option is I have to be your wise man. I have to solve your life's condition as a wise man in order for me not to be the fool. Otherwise, I'm just a damn fool pedaling through life on a leash to this person that I love. And people will use love to do more dirt to you than the people that say they hate you. Most of the time, the people that say they hate you try to avoid you. But the ones that swear up and down they love you, them the ones that's constantly fucking you over. Them the ones constantly crossing you out, undermining you, chopping you off at your knees, killing your dreams. You'll never be a singer. You don't sing good enough. But I write great songs like R. Kelly, right? But R. Kelly wasn't supposed to be big as Michael Jackson because he don't have that voice, but he got that pen. See, the universe have a way of strengthening you with your strength applied to your weakness if your weakness is your goal. So you got to make your weakness a strength, and you got to maintain your strength while you do it. If your strong point is a writer, then write the songs that accommodate your vocal styling. This is what make great songwriters, singer-songwriters. They got a whole collection of Time Life music called singer-songwriters of people who wrote songs that was one-hit wonders. They wrote it themselves, though, and they knew exactly how to sing it to get the optimum performance from the song. It's the same with painting. Hell, the movie Eddie and the Cruisers is based on the life of a writer named Arthur Rimbaud who wrote one massive selling book and disappeared. And they thought he was dead until they found him on his deathbed 60 years later. Right? So all of these stories that's being played out in front of us, they only here for one reason: to bring you to the attention that you are the one. And whoever is listening, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to me. I'm talking you, the one that you've been waiting on. And Malachi York said it better than anybody I ever heard. He said, the helping hand that you're looking for is at the end of your own arm. As soon as you realize that, you can start to build your life how you want it, instead of letting all of the loved ones hold you down with dead weight. Oh, you'll never be a ballet dancer because you started when you was 12 instead of when you was 5. Or you will never be a professional boxer, because you ain't applying yourself because you let everybody else's doubts creep in and tell you what you can't do. The greatness of man and the greatness of the self is to realize your skill set and then find out where the universe wants you to use it at, and you can't help but be great. Mike Tyson.
Amazing.
Right?
Hey,
look, if Mike Tyson in his prime would have ran into Stan Tukey Williams in his prime, we talking about knocking sparks off each other.
Man.
They both known for them hands. The difference, what's the difference? Big Tookie was natural. Mike Tyson was the best trained fighter in the history of the game. Right? Now, Mike becomes the philosopher of war and combat. After the collective experience of going to war with the likes of Razor Ruddock, Evander Holyfield, Bone Crusher Smith, Pinklin Thomas. He went in there with gladiators and he came out victorious, but when Don King got a hold of him, now the serpent rears his head and he loses to the stumble bump. They call him a stumble bump for a reason, because if you slipping up on your game, he have the right motivation. Buster Douglas' mama just died. He got the right set of circumstances. Mike Tyson is over there fornicating with as many Japanese hookers as he can, and he's bringing his celebrity homeboys over there to indulge with him. Like Bobby Brown.
Yeah, he said that. Mike said that.
So this is what you call creating a perfect storm for a loss.
Yeah.
Buster Douglas in his training level, there's no way he would have whooped the same Mike Tyson that Michael Spinks fought. But when you have him going through his love drama with his girl, crashing his Bentleys in the trees out of emotional distress.
Mike was wild. Mike was wild. Mike said during the Spinks fight, he had two different women in the crowd. Mike was a wild dude, man. He was wild, man. Shout out to Mike.
But who gonna tell him he can't be who he is? Because he got these to back up him proving who he is. Right? It's a whole lot of cats, but they all got to come with something else. They can't come from here and tell Mike what to do. Ask Mitch Green. He tried it in the clothing store and came out with a shiner. See, so we talking about aspirations of greatness. It's killed by the loved ones trying to protect you from the greatness that you're going to incur, because the conditions we went through, any signs of brilliance became a death sentence for our people. This is why we don't know who the chiefs is on the land, because they didn't villainize them, demonized them, and gave them bad names and bad raps. They created conditions around them in order to bring them down. So you see Diddy take a fall. You see people like Larry Hoover been in there for like 50 years. Angel Bay been in there 40 years. You know? And they didn't stop. They kept coming. They went and got H. Rap Brown on that. You need to go back and look at that trial. Anybody that want to see a travesty of justice, go look at the Imam Abu Jamal Al-Amin trial. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever seen in my life. And nobody don't pay these things no attention, because we didn't settle on the idea that this people that call themselves the United States is the rightful governors of the land. So whatever they do, they got to be right. They dead fucking wrong. They don't belong here. Right? We tribal people we on tribal land, but we living under a corporate structure that does not acknowledge nor accept the tribal conditions or positions.
Indeed.
So the only thing that we can do is try to wake up as many of us as we can to the reality that it's over with now. Big Mama home and her baby boy beating on his chest, pounding on the concrete, swinging from these lampposts through all of these cities, using social media as a vehicle to inform as many as possible that we back for everything they owe. Our ancestors is buried in mounds all over Turtle Island, North, South, and Central. And they speak through us. They're not going to get up out the dirt and come talking to you. But what they will do is they will find somebody genetically compatible to who they were and say, hey, bruh, deliver this message for me. But you're going to think it's coming from you because it's in your DNA code. All the DNA code is a computer program. And all of the scientists in biology, epigenetics, and they all know this. They ain't gonna tell you though. They gonna make it sound like the genome is some outstanding. It's just a computer program. That's it.
Hey, Rod, let's get to 2 questions. We're gonna do 2 more questions, family, and then we're gonna get out of here. It's been a magnificent show. I want to thank everybody for joining us once again. If you came to see Queen Afua, she was having technical difficulties, so she'll be back on the show in about 2 weeks. She got a couple of things she got to do, but she'll be back on in 2 weeks. Let's get to
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we get you just fine, sweetie. How you doing?
can you turn the computer down?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to turn your background noise down, though.
My question is okay.
Press mute.
Okay. My question was I can't hear y'all though.
You can't hear me? You can hear me
You
now?
can't hear us on here? You
Rashida.
you muting and unmuting yourself.
Rashida, can you hear me, Rashida? Rashida, can you hear me? Oh, Rashida, we might have to get back to you, Rashida. Rashida, can you hear me?
She can't hear you.
Yeah, let's get
She
to.
ain't saying nothing.
We're gonna have to get to. I got Tylon Slaughter, my brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good. You good to go.
What it do, huh?
Peace, Richard. How's it going with you?
Not much, man. I want to shout out to brother Rich. I'm a Virgo as well.
All right.
Just shout out to you. I got a question. I've been seeing things in the sky since 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, every night. I also see the color indigo. I see the color green in my visible spectrum. And the last part of this question, in one of my astral travels, I had a dragon chasing me. Chased me for a while until I stopped.
Did you say a dragon?
Dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until I stopped running from it. And when I stopped, I realized it mirrored like my every move. It was basically, you know what I'm saying that, hey, I'm
So
you in a way.
in the old culture, the dragon mean master.
Yeah, it told me that.
So we programmed the youth that the serpent mean wisdom, the dragon mean master. So when you seeing in the dream you being chased by the dragon, that's your self mastery chasing you to realize itself through you.
This was a projection, though, an astral travel.
Yeah. So you looking at your spirit animal as the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
The dragon is telling you a dragon, which means you a master, meaning that you're a master not only of your skills, but you're a master of the voice. So to satisfy the spirit of the dragon, you got to spit flames when you talk. the dragon is serious business on verbal communication. Get this book called Verbal Judo. Right?
Judo. Gotcha.
Verbal Judo. And when you study that, the dragon gonna tutor you. You don't even have to ask him because he's breathing in my face telling me that he's gonna tutor you. Get the book Verbal Judo, and whatever you can read on dragons, read it. If you see a TV show with a cartoon, watch it. Get absorbed in the dragon because that's your higher consciousness trying to manifest itself, but it need to be calibrated to the world you live in. And if you don't calibrate it, then you keep running into it in the dream form, talking about, yo, bro, what's up, man? You gonna let me in or what?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what the dragon is. As far as the ships you see in the sky, I don't like talking about ships and people on other planets, but I can't avoid it now because there's so many people seeing these phenomena in the sky, governments confessing with Senate hearings. I can't not talk about it no more. You know what I mean? I ducked it long as I could because I feel like that we got so many Earth-related issues that we could be dealing with. Fuck them people up there. When they get here, we'll deal with them then. But right now, we need to be working on what's here in front of us. But it's like New Orleans just had the whole big ship was down there in New Orleans last week. Big old ship. They think it was just some lights coming out of a storm cloud. But anybody with 2 drops of sense, though, that's not no storm cloud with them big ass bright lights, red lights on it. And the way that it's shaped is not shaped like no storm I ever seen. That's a ship. And it blows that smoke as a cloaking device, but they turn the lights on. Now you just killed the cloak. Now it ain't even cloaked no more. You should have left the lights off. You would have stayed cloaked. Now you ain't cloaked no more. The people see it. Venezuela had one. Seen the big old ship. Miami had one a couple months back. Seen a big ass. These ships is huge, and it's people taking pictures of them. But because of the fear tactics of Project Blue Beam and the all of the other scare tactics they use and people's cognitive dissonance, we don't want to accept none of that stuff is real. I don't care about them people. They're not coming to get me. They coming to get whoever they coming to get, but it won't be me. I'm not never go nowhere. I'm always gonna be reborn on Earth at the close of the age to fix this shit.
Right. Indeed. Hey, I appreciate that call, my brother.
Oh
that
yeah,
question.
y'all take it easy.
All right. Oh no, she done hung up. There was a sister. I forget the sister's name, but she done hung up. All right, we gonna family. Remember what I say? Stay focused. I was talking about the energy. Don't get distracted. Stay focused, y'all. When you vibrate high, something may come to lower that frequency. Stay focused. Vibe high. Rod, my brother, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show once again. I'm gonna tune in tomorrow to the show with you and Young Elder.
Yeah, you catch the last one I did, didn't you? The U.S. versus us, Cowboys, Indians.
Yo, you was on fire on that one. That's on Facebook though.
It's on. Yeah, it was a Facebook video, and a couple people put it up on YouTube. Young Elder put it up. Bidell put it up. But yeah, I was on one that night. I had the couple of ancestors was cajoling me to go tell them about the bounty on your scalp and who the real cowboys, Indians, and outlaws was. They classify all of us 9 treaty tribes as outlaws. We the ones that they say don't have any rights because we're not part of their system.
Right.
So in their system, they do us how they want to do us. Because we ain't part of it. Right? I did a video a couple years ago about why police be killing us and getting away with it. And it went over so many people's head back then. But on the heels of that one I just did, if they go back and watch it now, it'll make a whole lot more sense. Right? Because they law say kill us. They law literally say kill us. We the enemy. The ones that was here when Columbus came with nappy hair and brown skin, them the enemy, kill them. That's their law. That's not my law. They declared war on us. We never declared a war. We've never declared war. Big Mama called us to defend ourselves and help to defend the rest of us in Florida for the Gullah Wars that they called the Seminole Wars. But they declared that they was going to come over here, wage war against us under the discovery of the doctrine of discovery, an obligation to the white man's burden. White is a chess term. It means the offensive in chess. And under the white man's burden, they would dominate us, that they would kill us, is they gonna try to kill us off. But this is why Robert Williams said we baby kids, you can't kill us off. We the spirits of the earth spirits. We gonna always be here as long as earth is here because we one with the earth. You can't separate us. You can move us all over the earth, but we gonna always find our way back home to the part of the planet we was originally from. And so these pieces of information becomes critical because most of us don't know that the settlers was never supposed to cross the Appalachian Mountains. We never agreed to sell any land, and all of the land was stolen using forced sharecropping agreements and loan agreements, and we didn't believe in borrowing shit. But they create the condition. They burning our farms down so we can't have a crop, right? Then they skin flinting us on the payout. They telling us, well, we owe them $1,000. Well, the crops produced $10,000 this year. You went over budget by $6,000. Now you $7,000 in debt. So we got to take our $7,000 off the top, and then we're gonna take the money that we gave you to buy seeds and fertilizer off the other $3,000. By the time you got $500 for the year, if you're lucky.
Right.
So this is how they do the same program. Is how we end up with the Diddy situation, with the Tupac and Biggie situation, with the Michael Jackson situation, with the Prince situation. Everybody's fighting the corporations for their intellectual property rights.
Right, right.
We was fighting them for the physical property rights, but when they got done paper stealing all of the land, reclassifying the people, now we at a point where the only thing we got is our balls and our word. And I ain't busting man for nobody. You know what I mean? So you either realize what's going on and you wake up to the scheme, and then you say, I don't want to participate no more. That's how you shut their system down. The political stage show, all they trying to do is harvest your energy to give them proof that you don't know what the hell going on the land. And I'm telling you, BDL telling you, Seven Bomar telling you, Yaki Awaken telling you, right? Sinetter telling you, all of the people that you, even that unapologetically pro-black ass nigga Umar Johnson sit there and told you that it was nappy head, woolly haired people over here long before Columbus came. He even know that. All of them know. And the question is, who's going to tell it? We've been telling it now. The youth is coming out. These youngsters coming out. The little boy with what the fuck TV. He be dropping heavy receipts. Earth Speaks dropping receipts. Gaddy dropping receipts. You got Mama T dropping receipts. All of these people ain't just dropping these receipts, and they match everything that we telling you. We know we not making it up. We best back for what we owe. This is our shit.
Right.
We not fighting for somebody else's property and property rights. We fighting for what our ancestors told us belong to us, and we need to assert our oral jurisdiction. I mean, tell it in the open until enough of the public realize that we back, and we ain't never went nowhere. But on paper, we was erased. In a court system, we was nullified. Whether we was right or wrong, it didn't matter in a court system. The only mattered is what we looked at like. That don't even work no more. Right? Because now we got something called a serial killer that proved that we ain't the serial killers until they manufacture something that look like us. Right? And then all of the people that don't want to go along with the program, Charles Manson, that man spent the rest of his life in prison because he didn't want to start a race war. They blew Joseph St.Q. up because that's what his op's supposed to be in. But he went and kidnapped the rich kids and formed the Symbionese Liberation Army. They was like, we ain't locking him up because if he take that influence into the institutions, blowed him up. Go look it up. Joseph St.Q. They blew his building up while he was in there. The same thing they did to John Africa. John Africa didn't do nothing to nobody. All he just said was, look, I just want to live my life in peace with my family and live off the fat of the land. I don't want nothing from y'all, and I don't want y'all in none of my business. And they got offended and blew him up, blew his family up, shot him up. And the police did this. This wasn't no Russian, Chinese, North Korean military contingent. They said the police did this. The police is the military force for London, England, Buckingham Palace that was assigned to govern over us as an interim government. The same way they did with Halliburton under Dick Cheney when they put Mohammed Karzai in office in Iraq, And they put some what they call provisional government in power in Afghanistan so they can run that oil pipeline from Uzbekistan all the way to the Persian Gulf unrestricted by the belief system of the Islamic faithfuls that was there. I'm not a Muslim, but you dead wrong if you, because they living their life, minding their business, but you want their resource and you over there kill them off for their resource. The same, everybody thinking right now what's going on in Palestine got something to do with Palestine. It got everything to do with the Ukraine and nothing to do with Palestine. When you hear them people talking about they protecting their home, the people, right? The holistic medicine, the Dr. Layla Africa's, your Dr. Sabi's, your Yaki Awake, this is not common medicine in this era, but that's the medicine that allelopathic suffocated in order to poison as many people as they can. You know, this is what's going on. And for those of us who don't wake up to it, we on our own, left to our own devices to figure it out. I'm trying to tell them.
Hey, Rod, once again, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Powerful, powerful breakdown. You had that energy tonight. We staying focused. We staying in tune. And Rod, once again, family, Rod going to be on Young Elder's show tomorrow. What's the name of his channel? Just Young Elder?
Young Elder.
Okay, yeah, he's going to be in Young Elder.
I think he changed to Young Elder TV, but it's one of them, either Young Elder or Young Elder TV, but they'll know.
Okay. Shout out to everybody tuned in. We got about 3,000 people. I've been the whole day I've been talking to y'all. I've been telling y'all about the energy that's in the ether, staying focused, not buying into the distractions. Y'all seen a good example of that during the show, family. Your emotional response to things. Y'all got to start valuing that like you value your money in your pocket, the fiat in your pocket. It's just as valuable as, let's say, your emotional response is just as valuable as some paper in your pocket, even more. But we'll value the paper in our pocket more than we do an emotional response. And your emotional response, it activates certain DNA. It does certain, has chemical reactions in your body. So use this as a lesson and be very mindful of our emotional responses to our so-called external world, family, because that's our money. That's our true currency right there. So let's really protect our money like we protect our money that's in the bank, and we make sure it's safe, and we make sure we hide the pin when we at the ATM. We don't let nobody see the pin because we don't want nobody. Don't let nobody rob your energy. Don't let nobody rob your money, family. With that being said, any last words before we get out of here, Rod?
I'm riding with you on that. Protect your energy because the distractions will come. And if you have what's called one of those hate-based belief systems, somebody gonna push your buttons and send you off the deep end.
Oh, you gonna be triggered like a mug, y'all. You'll be triggered like a mug. So, hey, with that being said, we get out of here, family. I'll see you tonight. KT will be.
Why you give them a cup of moringa tea every morning? Because all of those nutritional things on the nutritional scale, it's maximizing the greatest possible benefit the fetus can have for development, no matter what the current condition of it is. In this case, there's an extra chromosome. So you don't want the chromosome to be a handicap. So you make sure that your nutrients is at optimum capacity. Moringa is so nutrient dense that a person that's on his deathbed for malnutrition they use the moringa to bring them back to health.
I drink it every morning. I get it from the Whole Foods, the African, the international.
Oh,
yeah, the African. And I drink moringa every morning. But I just now found out about it when you was talking about it one day, and I went and got it and I read the benefits. I was like, why we didn't know about this? It's just so crazy. And okay,
how did it make you feel once you started taking it?
Energized. I got an appetite now. And it just, to me, I got 4 boys. I keep saying it, but it's just like energized because I always be having to take energy pills and stuff like that. It's like I have more energy and just like, I don't know, I'm more happier. I don't know. It's like it's so crazy, but it's like a mood enhancer too.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying, like,
okay, so look at this. When you are deficient in a nutrient, your body is sending stress hormones for you to fix the problem. Those stress hormones, they call them stressors, chemical stressors. Primarily it's cortisol, neuroepinephrine, and a couple of other chemicals. This makes you become agitated easily, irritable. So when you get your nutrients balanced, your body's not sending these chemicals out in distress. So now you can be more present while you're present.
Exactly. It make a lot of sense. All right, babe. And yeah, that's it. And it about the Orishas, like if I'm spiritual, to me, I just feel like the Orishas, you know, Oshun and all of them, it's still a belief, you know? Or I'm
No,
looking at
you're looking at it
still
all wrong.
you worshiping
Those
something.
are ancestral energies that's active in your DNA that you need to learn about in order to have control of your spiritual self.
With these people out here in Georgia, they doing it wrong. They worshiping these people and sacrificing chickens and stuff like that. It just turned me away from. I was like, I'm EFAT. I'm EFAT. It's like a game. I'm EFAT. I'm EFAT. I'm like, baby, y'all can have EFAT. I don't know what
Hey, look,
EFAT, but I just found out about it in
look,
Georgia. Came here.
Look, you talking about them sacrificing chickens, but ain't nobody talking about these Christians communion.
Yeah, that's why I said to communion with the bread and the wine,
Communion.
grapefruit juice. Supposed
Right.
to be mine, his blood.
Yeah. Energetically speaking, they might as well eat the motherfucker for real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can't look down on them for sacrificing the chicken if we ain't ready to deal with.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. They just put a bad taste in my mouth. So I guess I got to do research on them. It's just like, it feels like they worshiping
Now
something.
listen, all of the priesthoods have been infiltrated by rogue elements that's misusing the practice of the priesthood. The same way that these Christian prosperity preachers with these churches big as football stadiums, collecting offerings, sending garbage cans around to fill up with money every Sunday.
Helicopters.
This is a corruption in the priesthood. It don't got nothing to do with the people the people are being misled. But the people that's misleading them is working from the corruption in the priesthood. So you're supposed to have a bad taste in your mouth if you sense the corruption anywhere, not just with the Ife, not just with the Obe, not just with the Gullah, not just with the Satria. Jesus, Muhammad, and Abraham.
Yeah, but they talking about they E5, but they still worship like, thank you, Jesus. They still believe Jesus. I ain't know that. So I'm confused.
Look, because they used to use it. That's Santeria. We used to use the church to conceal the Vadum. Somewhere along the way, the indoctrination of the church ousted the Vadum. A lot of the church practices you see in modern day churches that we have, if you wanted to know the difference, look at a Catholic church, you'll see the difference. These people, a lot of these people is fake practitioners anyway. Just like most of these Christians and Mohammedans and Hebrews is hypocrites too.
Yeah.
So once we realize that the whole thing is judge not that ye may not be judged, but for the same measure by which you judge, by that measure also shall you be judged. Right. In other words, don't condemn nobody. because you don't know what they went through that's keeping them locked in that position. You just know it's not for you, and you move on and you do the best you can do.
Facts.
So the voodoo ain't above being breached by rogue priests. It's the people who understand it that's going to eventually drag the rogue priest out into the public domain as the frauds they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't care what they use as the underlying method of teaching or preaching or conning.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna all get drug out when the people realize that the priesthoods have been corrupted, and the best way to tell is they telling you the truth or is they telling you the script?
That part. That part. All right, King. It's getting late, and I know you got a whole list. I appreciate you, and I'm gonna get back on your live and continue to follow you, baby.
All right, sweetie. I'll
All
talk
right.
to you later.
Okay.
Oh man, I appreciate you getting me back on, man.
You was in the middle of a sentence when they cut you off last time. I wanted to hear what you was talking about. You was shit. You had my full attention, and then that bitch blinked out on me.
Well, man, I hope you you like this question. But yeah, I was trying to understand time. You know, again, you know, I created Lineage to get us to start reading some books. It's still hard to get us to read books, but give us the beginning of the Earth. You know, how did everything spin off? I know you had mentioned there was only women on the planet, so I'm just intrigued to hear what you know and how we came to be. Like, what's that whole process look like? If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, Earth at first, Earth has always been a resort location.
Okay.
And the hospitality of Earth became legendary because of the Earth Angels. That's what they used to refer to the women. In modern terminologies, the best way to translate it is Earth Angel.
Like the song Earth Angel.
Yeah.
Earth Angel. Because I know you bring it back to music sometimes. I went ahead and did it for you this time.
Right, because the music helps to understand the concept better.
Yeah.
Because when you put it to the song helps you retain the information.
Right. Right.
Because it's on the pattern, it's on the beat, it's on the harmony and the frequency that you can gig with.
Right.
But anyway, Earth was where people was coming to learn what's known as the mystic arts. The women were instructors in the mystic arts.
Okay.
But the women, they didn't stay incarnated in physical form. But the different species of trainees, they would come in and they would take on a form.
Okay.
For the purposes, the women could go to higher densities, and then they can come to the 3D and materialize.
So how far could they go? 6th, 7th?
No, they can at least go to 21 dimensions straight up.
21?
Yeah, but they normally stop at 13.
How many dimensions are there?
Infinite.
Infinite? Oh, damn.
We at the lowest vibrational point
right.
in the hologram of the convergence.
Mm-hmm.
We are where the rays of light actually meet the wall.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about the first dimension, remember, writing is a 2-dimensional art.
2D. Yeah.
Right. And a dot is 1D.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As soon as you make any movement from the central point of the dot, you move into 2D.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So when you in the physical world, you in the 3D. Now the hologram is moving from a flat surface to the upright.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Now the chess pieces can be moved around from looking at it on the level.
Mm-hmm.
And the level is a Masonic tool for the construction of the temple.
Okay.
Okay, now, when these women would materialize in the 3D, they discovered the training method was to take what's fourth dimensional, express it two-dimensional, and then it plays out three-dimensionally.
In 3D. Oh, okay. That's deep.
So you leveraging the hologram off of the backdrop. The backdrop is the walls of the uterus of Big Mama.
All right.
Right. So now when the women would go to the 13th dimension, that's where they are all infinite spirit beings.
Right.
Right. And the ego is a side effect of being in the 3D. You don't have an ego in your dream. In your dream, everything you do is selfless.
Yeah.
But when you're in the physical world, you do selfish shit.
You do selfish shit all the time. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So you're trying to learn how to teach yourself to become the person in the dream. That's 4D.
Yeah, fourth dimension. Okay.
So the trick is to create a grimoire. What is the grimoire for? It's to take the 4D lessons, put them in the 2D, so that you become what you learn in 3D.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
So
deep.
at 13th dimension, that's called Big Mama's house.
Okay.
From the 13th zodiac seat, we learn what Big Mama orders is from Big Mama house.
Okay.
So the women at this point, they had no need for a consort because they weren't stuck in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
So when the first major wars of the Earth Chronicle, Earth was fighting the Andromeda beings because they were matriarchal, but they were a different kind of matriarch than we are.
All right, quick question. So it was only women having to fight these Andromeda beings?
Right.
At that time? Okay.
And
And
the
were they
Andromeda beings came from what's called a duality dimension, where they had gender. The law of gender wasn't applied on Earth yet.
And that was that's the seventh Hermetic principle?
The law of gender, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so this is what was called the gender contract. You hear me talking about it. I even did a video on the gender contract.
I do remember. Yep.
Right. So the women fighting the Andromeda beings was losing in a strength competition to the males from the Andromeda strain.
Okay.
Right. So the women formed a council on Earth and asked Big Mama, can they produce men as protectors from the other dimension? So this is how duality, gender, the law of gender, becomes implemented on Earth.
Oh shit. All right. So I felt like I was oh, okay, go ahead. Keep going, man. You're blowing my mind right now.
Okay,
like
so
young
now
when I said that. Oh shit, right.
Right. So this is why I say that every closing of the age, homosexuality is rampant because the gender contract is being challenged.
Oh wow.
If the women determine that the men have outserved their purpose, they will erase our ass. They'll stop producing male children.
Yeah, there's a lot of us out here fucking up. I can tell you that. They might mess around and try it. I don't know. Good night. Go ahead.
Hey, look, if one of us bump straight, they might let us stay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm trying to be the straightest straight bump I can bump when I bump straight.
Me too, man. Me too.
You know?
Yep.
So
I'm sorry. Keep going. Yep.
The challenge to the gender contract, if the women determine that there's no sense of having men if the men gonna only love men. It's a waste. You know, we can just go back to having women.
Yeah.
Right? So guys are converts by the ones who's trying to get us to break the gender contract.
Wow.
And this is why the power is so great with the elemental Q community.
What the elemental Q? I don't understand.
Whatever the fuck they is, like some alphabet.
All right. I understand what you mean then now. I got you. Okay.
Right. So they are strategically placed there as a military application to compel the woman to oust man from the earth so they can backdoor them with the dragon bitches.
Okay.
And replace the women's rulership with drag queens.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna work.
No, it's not gonna work. So you left off with women were gonna try to get men because they were dying, I guess. So what's that story look like?
Well, it looked like Sanaya Latham joining forces with the Predator in order to fight Alien.
Okay. All right.
Right. So that's the repeat of the story.
Okay.
They was the women they was hunting. Sanaya Latham represents Kalima.
Kalima,
the great warrior spirit of the sister of the Shakti energy.
Yep. I just started reading MP Blavatsky and starting to get into some of that Shakti stuff. Like I've heard you say it several times, and then Rod was like, none of us are gonna read this book, and I said, damn it, I'm gonna read this book. And now I'm starting to learn a little bit about the Shakti stuff. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
But generally speaking, we wasn't gonna read none of that shit.
No, I mean I didn't know about it, man. I love reading.
Yeah. But remember how many of us don't want to read.
Yeah. Kyrie, right? He was a great interview. He said, I always wondered why they said if you don't want black people to read, put it into a book. I mean, want black people to know anything, put it into a book. And it's pretty prevalent, you know. Like I said, Lineage was about getting people to read. I just started saying, forget it. Let me just post stuff because it's a little bit more effective to get people to understand in 30 seconds, a minute, 3 minutes, whatever, you know. It's unfortunate, but we're getting there, though. We're waking up.
Oh, man. It's to me right now where the reach that the information I put out in the public domain has had and the impact is kind of making me nervous. But it's not making me nervous as in a fearful way. Okay. It's more like a holy shit, I didn't set this. Mercilessly attacked by the Spanish Armada. the Spanish Armada eventually was backed up by the French and the Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
So we was boat jumping from this portion of Mexico going to support the islands. And that's why you see the islanders with varying different tribal makeups, because we had to go help them. This is where we had our resorts, right? So Big Mama's on the mainland would trade delicacies with the people from the islands. We would always visit. They cut us off from each other by controlling the water. They took control of the seas first, around the borderlands. Once they took control of the seas, they started first annexing the islands and claiming the islands as the territory under the doctrine of discovery. When they started getting pummeled, they sent the voyage around South America. And that's how the Califia Queens, caught without her kings, got assaulted and her castle got pummeled by the Spanish Armada. And then that we didn't know what hit us.
Damn. So you ever seen the movie Pirates of the Caribbean?
That's about the Spanish. Puerto Rico was set up as a port city, and it was where all of the thieves kept their wealth. That's why it's called the rich port, because all of the wealth that they was stealing from the tribes, they had to take it to Puerto Rico to be inventoried before they ship it to Europe. And the pirates, honor among thieves, that's why they set up cannons all around Puerto Rico for defensive measure.
Okay. We have South America here.
Yeah. So Brazil, being the first to assimilate the pale nations of Europe and make them become a distinctly different people than they was when they came. So we got a term called Brazilianization, which is a reflection of the drop of blood doctrine being assimilated with the least amount of resistance from the nomadic peoples, or the organic peoples, I should say. And that's why the Brazilians look different than the rest of the tribe, because they've assimilated.
Okay. Okay. I think I asked you this before with the, this, we're going to do like a real dope history lesson, y'all. There was a book when rocks cry out. And I believe he said that Jerusalem was the real Jerusalem was in Peru. You ever heard that before?
Look, Jerusalem is made up to push the Hebrew doctrine on us. Jerusalem only means city of peace. Wherever you seen the metropolis at was a Jerusalem, a city of peace. They just trying to make it seem like it's some uniquely special shit. And if you go back to 1945, when they established the United Nations, 1948 is when they finally did their first act as a concerted United Nations, when they seized that land on the Gaza Bank and the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. But in the meeting between 45 and 48, they had 10 different locations that they was going to declare to be the state of Israel, right? With the city of Jerusalem as its capital. They settled on the city over there in the Middle East because they have ancient practices, right, built on top of ancient practices all in that area. And then they can use that as the justification for the false narrative of religious doctrine. That don't work on me. So what they're telling you when they talk about a city peace is any city that wasn't in a state of war, because all of our cities is currently in a state of war. And we know this because all our cities have some stuff called police, which is slave catchers that worked for the empire, that ain't turning our empire. And they were the ones catching the braves and taking them as hostages to prevent them becoming chiefs.
Right. Yeah, we got Antarctica over here, huh? This is the
Yeah.
This is what everybody talk about, Antarctica. Okay. Rod, is there any ancient texts that deal with Antarctica or the land over there?
Yep. The Hindus have a series of writings on the landmass, but under the ice, it would be Tartaria. It's actually called Tartarus in the Bible. In the book of Enoch, it's called Tartarus, and the book of Enoch gives you the terrain that's exactly the terrain under the ice, and it tell you it's the coldest desert in the world.
Right. Wow. 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 Just going over some land here. Wow. Okay. We got Asia, we got Russia.
So
Yeah.
what you're looking at now, you're looking at it from what we would call an Anunnaki. Do you see where the separation is between so-called Africa and the Middle East?
You breaking up, Rod. You talking about he said
that part right there.
Yeah.
Everything east of that except for was Pakistan and India. Pakistan and India used to be called East Ethiopia. And Ethiopia means ether utopian. It goes back to something called Black root science.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to some documents. So this was the land of Enki.
Ethiopia.
Right?
All of this.
Those big. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now,
everything north of India, Europe, and Asia is the land, and Australia. And it goes down to the Far East to Australia. That was all ISIS's territory or Inanna's territory by the division of the three Anunnakis of the earth. Then you had the Americas, which was the land of Tahuti, the great thunderbird, Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl, right? But when you start reading those documents and you find out, you know, the story of the Arabs say, I thought craft and flew east and landed in the land of the hairy barbarian. He's talking about the original inhabitants set up Egypt. So when you zoom in, you will see that the Nile River is an artificial construct. It's not original over there, right? It was once the source of the fertile nature of what's now called the Sahara Desert. But they engineered the Nile River to not run into the desert because they had to fill in the Mediterranean bit bigger because of Mount Vesuvius.
Right. Man. Yeah, this is that was interesting right there.
Yeah, I wasn't intending to go into no history lesson around the world.
Wow, man. That was yeah, and the thing about it, Rod, is that the maps, we don't even know how accurate the maps we got are. Like,
do a layover with the moon. You do a layover with the moon because the moon is reflecting the map of the earth.
Oh, the moon?
The moon is the tech. Yeah, so the moon is supposed to be able to be used to tell you if it's sunken lands. The sunken lands show up in the moon. They got the oldest reflection of the earth. It's seared in there for a reason.
Wow. We're going to get to two more questions that we're going to get out of here. Let's get to a super chat question. Hold up. Well, let me get to this one. What Rod, I think she's trying to say, what does Rod think about suicide?
Suicide resets you in the game. Take you back till you can figure out why you keep abandoning your post. So what actually the reason people commit suicide is part of the shut off matrix in the game. The game is designed that if you can't handle the pressure, that it ejects you from the game. And so you have to leave a clue behind for somebody to know that there was an issue here that needed to be studied so that we can find out how to exist longer within the parameters of the game. Most of us don't know. Nobody don't ever tell us when we little. We know as you grow up, life's supposed to have ups and downs. Sometimes this shit supposed to get so hard you don't even want to be here no more. But you're supposed to work your way through it, and that's when the better days come. But it comes from not teaching people that life's supposed to get difficult, because the difficult times is the test for all of the easy times that you had before it. You were studying. Right. When you turn into a university, it hit different.
All right, let's get to the next question. Rod, can you explain how to reclaim family land if the corporation is defunct? Are land deeds contracts null and void?
The only thing they're going to be good for is what you call a trace record. The trace record is because, remember, the contract was canceled because they never honored the treaty. All of the treaties was all made up and predicated up on fraud, a constructed fraud. The constructed fraud was they declared $5 Indians chiefs and signed treaties as if they was with us. And when we seen in the South, a lot of us got trapped into what we call blind treaty agreements by not knowing what we call the Queen's language, and not knowing the legalese, and not knowing that they're not the same. So a lot of them got trapped into signing treaties that they didn't have a fucking clue what they were signing, which is fraud. So when all of the contracts is canceled, when everything shut down and come back online, it'll be a path clearly to find out where your family's shit at. Because the corporation is defunct. It's a wrap. Okay, so when you got two polarities to a magnet, it creates a field. If it's laying flat, the field looks like the top of an apple, and it goes around, and the bottom of it looks the same. This is called a torus field or a torsion field. It's because of the pole in the center is it's projecting the field. Everything got a field. In the earth is called the atmosphere, but in the person is called an aura. And they are made in the torsion field. The heart chakra is in line with the crown chakra in order to produce a torsion field that's much bigger than the torsion field of your heart chakra being in alignment with your root chakra. When you have all of them in alignment, it makes your torsion field even bigger. So your toric field much is 60 feet around you. And when you wake fully into consciousness and your mitochondrial is putting out maximum output, which means that you get maximum information from the DEA, then you can reach up to 50 miles with your auric field. And this is why we are connected. To us before 1492, but because of the experience, a wise man will talk to the experience, and they will use terms that changes the psychological dynamic that's imposed on you by an oppressor. So don't get caught up and think that when Malachi speak about Nubians and Sabians, that he's excluding Hamites and Hittites. That's not what he's doing. He's going inside of the psyche, pulling the information out, so you can use it as a perspective of view to see what you face with. A lot of these terms, Asiatic, those terms mean something to specific people from specific bloodlines more than they do to the collective. It's called light code language. It's written like that for a reason. So if you want to know what the Honorable Minister Farrakhan mean when he says Asiatic black man, read the literature. They tell you what they mean. But it's not going to mean the same thing for me.
No, yeah, that's what I say. That's what I say too. Hey, Roy, I like how you put that, Roy. I like how you answer that question. Because, like I say, Bible taught that the Asiatic black man is the Hindus, the blacks, dark skinned Hindus. That's what Bible taught us. So, and it's not us. We're not Asiatic black man. Now some of us do got Asiatic black man in us because these dark skinned Moors or Asiatic black man came over here and mixed in with some of us. That's why all of us don't got this real nappy.
You remember, Elder?
Mm-hmm.
You remember when I said go back and look at the wars that Rome fought, so you will know who they was taking as captives.
That's right.
It's a steady flow of information of who they was fighting the whole time while they was getting ready to come over here.
Mm-hmm.
They were fighting the Mongols, they were fighting the Huns, and they were fighting the Vedics, what the Nuwabians call Asiatic black man, the Hindu. Those are your Aryan race, those Enlil kids, but from a different wife than his wicked wife.
Go ahead.
Right? So they was blessed with certain features in the face, but Enlil put his kids over Inky kids, who's known in India as Dravidians, untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
They got afros, look like the Jacksons in the 70s.
That's right.
Right. So those were Inky kids, right? And that was called Eastern Ethiopia. Now this is where we start going into the difference Asiatic black man.
Okay.
Because the Dravidian was there before it was Asia.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And so before it was Asia, you had big nose, big lip, Afro wearing people over there. They still there.
Yeah,
you can still look them up on.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you can still look them up on the internet. They're not hard to find.
Yeah.
But then the people who was given the title Aryan noble, they was placed in the palaces as the rulers. And because of the worship gene, they all stay in their place. That's an Anunnaki trait. If you ascribe a family function, it'll do that family function in the family for life, even if it's rat catchers.
Right. Go ahead. Neutral rat.
All right. Yeah, but whatever it is, the family gonna always. That's what their caste system is predicated upon. That idea. They changed it when they brought it to America. The caste system was predicated upon the brown paper bag test that kept us out of the institutions where they was exchanging all of this information that we now putting out in the public domain. They didn't just find this stuff out yesterday. They been knew this stuff. They knew they was going to do it before they done it because they wrote that they was going to do it before they done it. And then they said, don't believe it. They followed step by step exactly how they wrote it to get it done, but they tell us, don't believe it. It's a conspiracy theory.
Right.
do with avoiding hostile weather patterns and what they call jet streams. In certain planes, you can't get caught in certain environments in the atmosphere because it'll send you straight to the earth.
Turbulence, all of that.
Right. So most of us don't know about all of that part of flying. So we're going to run our mouth and be talking about, see, in the plane, man, there's so much shit going to fly in the plane. That shit ain't no motherfucker. Why you think everybody ain't lined up to be no goddamn pilot? It take a special kind of motherfucker to fly planes.
Yeah, you do have to be. I was staying with somebody who was getting his pilot's license, and it's technical. So you got to know everything. Like,
look, they directing traffic in the air. This like trying to tell bullets where to go in real time.
Right.
Serious. The only thing they trying to make sure is this plane and that plane is not on a cross trajectory with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pull up the aerial map and see what the air traffic over the United States alone look like, let alone around the world. So now you the air traffic controller, you got to direct that shit. So it might seem like it's easier to fly from New York to Morocco, but they're going to take you to Spain first or Italy first.
Right.
Right? Because it's the flow of traffic in the air. It's the same with the highways. Motherfuckers just don't cut across the woods to go where they're going. They follow the road. It's just that it's a road in the sky that we can't see with the naked eye.
Yeah.
It's like it's a river running in the atmosphere.
Almost like what Morpheus said. Who told you it's air? It just might be a lighter river.
Look, when the grid flip, we're gonna go to breathing the double oxygen molecule of the ozone. Ozone is gonna crush closer to the earth. The lower atmosphere is gonna move closer to the earth. And the oxygen that we breathe, we're gonna be breathing a double oxygen molecule, ozone. It's going to change the way that we process metals in our biological systems.
So that's going to be when we flip back and start changing colors, start de-rusting.
Yeah. So right now with soft metals, the soft metals is the dominant metals based on how our DNA was programmed when the Anunnaki interfered with it. We used to be on platinum group metals only. Then the system that your body could become your spaceship, your Merkaba.
Right.
Right. And if they want to stop you from using your Merkaba, they have to switch the metals that you use because you have too much waste product generated in order to harness enough energy to raise up to that level of frequency.
That's what the food.
Yeah, the food, the toxins in the food, congesting the liver. Most of the food that we eat now with all those pesticides and shit, it's just to fuck the liver up. So once they fuck the liver up, you're going to have high blood pressure, diabetes, intestinal problems. Then that's going to cause impurities to build up in the blood that's going to strangle the brain of oxygen slowly. And then they're going to tell you got Alzheimer's or dementia. It's orchestrated. Everything was weaponized against us from motherfucking the first day of school, goddamn it, when they put this motherfucking lights in the delivery room to blind the shit out your ass when you're born, to shock your visual cortex. That's in order to stimulate amnesia.
So
then they slap you on the ass so that you'll fall into instant trauma. And they don't give you immediately to the mama. They give you to somebody to stick a bottle in your mouth. So now you can't even sync to the mother. She can't sync to the baby. And then they wonder why these women got postpartum depression.
Because they never made
it. Look, when I came out, my mom, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Where the doulas? I'm mad than a motherfucker. I was born with an attitude. This shit didn't look right. I'm used to, when I be born, I'm used to being born with a bunch of ladies in grass skirts with no top on. By candlelight. I don't know nothing about these motherfuckers with this motherfucking white suits and shit. Who is these motherfuckers?
Fluorescent light.
With these bright ass goddamn spotlights. I ain't no stage motherfucker. I'm not an actor.
Shit, that's hilarious. That's real though.
And they act like they don't know what they doing.
Oh no,
that's the part that pisses me off, because when you say something, they'll say something like the doctors don't know what the doctors don't believe that. The doctors know what the fuck they doing.
Right. That's why I make it so hard to get that percentage.
It's basic common sense. Massive shock to the visual cortex causes amnesia.
That's the first thing you see.
First thing you see when you come out is a bunch of goddamn spotlights. And then them bright ass white jackets reflecting the spotlight even more.
Right into your soul, because that's the first time your soul sees the world, right?
Yeah, you know, what the fuck is this shit? I just was doing flips on my mama's stomach and I come out here to this shit. This shit gotta get fixed. I knew that out the gate. This shit gotta get fixed. I don't know what this. And then I'm listening to my mama telling my auntie, you gotta get the baby out of here before they kill him. I'm like, why the fuck they want to kill me? I just got here. They knew who I was. I didn't.
Yo, let's talk about how you was talking about that amnesia. They still do it in the, well, not anymore, not as much. But I remember like in the 90s, early 2000s, where they used to have them little broadcasts where it made you sit through like 30, 45 seconds, almost a minute of the colors changing and the loud sounds. Was that make you forget certain things?
That's not necessarily amnesia. Sometimes that's to stimulate the same part of your psyche that the psychotropics stimulate. The peyote and the mushrooms, psilocybins, those color patterns, they call them psychedelic color patterns.
Right.
Right. So they mimic having the psychic trip without the psychic trip. And then if you put them under the strobing lights, and that's to stimulate the visual cortex as if you was having a psychic psilocybin or toadstool peyote trip. So sometimes they infuse them with a frequency or energy to directly contact your higher self, telling you, hey, soldier, we need you to wake up, but we can't tell nobody. Your subconscious already know, your higher self already know what the message means. Right? And it had to wait for you to get the message. Your conscious mind don't, it's like, what the fuck going on? What's and then your subconscious is about to take over and he don't know it. They call that being possessed. You're being possessed by yourself. That's your Zumbe. But they make you think that it's the undead, the zombie, the motherfucker that came back from the dead. Your higher self coming through your lower self is actually resurrecting you from a state of death to a state of life, from a straw man to an actualized being.
Yeah,
that's the metaphysics of it all.
Yeah, that connects on multiple levels. Even from studying the laws that I'm studying, it makes sense. It's like a rebirth on multiple levels.
Yeah, so everything they did, they weaponized against us, but we just fortunate enough to have enough of us around to work together in secret to overcome the obstacle in the open. We had to follow them secret squirrel motherfuckers around with pooper scoopers and examine their shit.
Yeah, your analogies get me every time.
Hey, that helps motherfuckers learn faster too. Make that shit stick.
Huh?
That makes your motherfucker learn faster. Make that shit stick like Velcro.
I just was telling somebody. I said, if you give somebody some analogies, you could. Because we was just talking about debates. I said the best way to win a debate is if you can make it. You can make an analogy to where they understand it, because then they'll start to be like, you know what, you're right about that. Because you make them feel it. Get them to laugh and get them to make it real to them. Then you can kind of take over that.
Right, because you're involved in more parts of the psyche than just one.
Right.
The best teaching method involves the most of your senses. Right, so when you incorporate multiple learning styles into a teaching method, then it can reach more people effectively.
That's real. Okay, so there's a couple. I'm gonna sprinkle some of these questions in here because they drop them in here. Young Key 333 said, "I find a lot of feathers on the ground randomly. What does that mean?"
Your spirit messages. Look up the feathers and the feather colors. Whatever in the collective consciousness is the meaning of it. So you look at the colors, like blue jay feathers. You might be about to win a court case.
Justice.
Yeah. A cardinal feather, message from the other side. You get a
spiritual realm, right?
Yeah. So when you start collecting your feathers, you start being able to read them for what they are. You start being there. It's like reading a book. You will receive a series of feathers with different patterns and colors for you to read. Then you know what the spirit message is from the Great Spirit.
That's fine. Okay, here we go. Somebody says, is it a meaning to be born with a purple tint?
Okay, that's not uncommon for us. Remember, we wasn't always copper and iron based. We used to be copper and magnesium based. And we used to process platinum group metals instead of soft metals. The DNA program was synced to the soft metals to process, which causes the negative side effects, right? But the coloring pigmentation is altered. The melanin interacting in the keratin in the skin, causing the brown color, is the rusting of the iron, right? When you was magnesium and copper, the oxide, magnesium oxide, copper oxide pigmentation is green. When your blood looked like chlorophyll.
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna bring me to one point, the movie Avatar, the first one. You know, they're getting ready to drop the second one.
Right, with the blue people.
With the blue. And I'm of the mind that was basically a documentary of us, of our
people. It is.
Wars, was it not? Because you, at the end of it, you saw how they brought everybody, all the tribes from all over to come fight.
Yeah.
Right. So, but my biggest takeaway was in that movie. There was multiple takeaways, but one was getting us away from that center point of energy, that big tree.
Iwas. That tree was called Iwas in the movie.
Iwas, yes. Getting us
go back to Egypt and find out who Iwas was. Go back to Crowley.
Okay. Oh yeah. Before I forget, Carol Barn. What was that book? So I can type that in there and tell people to check that out too.
Melanin: Chemical Keys to Black Greatness by Dr. Carol Byrne.
Chemical Keys to Black Greatness. Somebody drop that in there for me, and I'll pin it. But yeah, so yeah, that tree that always stuck out with me. So much so to the point that I've done research, like try to find a map and try to identify where that tree was, because in that they made a direct emphasis.
I can tell you where it was at. It was in South Africa.
South Africa.
That's why there's hardly any trees left over there. They cut them down first. It was not far from where Credo Mutwa lives. It was called the Great Tree of Life. You could upload and download your consciousness. Really what it would do, if you was born in the 3D and you touch the tree will read your DNA and feed back the information to your conscious mind, where you can understand who you was in past lives. That's what they was doing in the movie.
It was like our CASHAPP records.
Yeah. But when they cut the tree down, we have what you call the energy signature of the tree, a phantom tree.
Like a phantom limb.
Yeah. The tree's still present. But now it's dissipated energy in the atmosphere, and we have to read it from a telepathic perspective with the earth. Right? Again, that's when you start reliving that shit. And that's not the good part. That's not the good part. Because when you realize that some of the decisions you had to make for the betterment of the whole looked very horrible at the time you was making them, and nobody wouldn't understand it unless they seen the outcome today. The only way you would understand it. So that's why in Operation Looking Glass, they can't escape the singularity. Right? The same with Nostradamus and the psychics. They can't escape the singularity. Everything converged here and now. So when the Christians say everything working together for the greatest good, this is what they're talking about. No, the good shit and the bad shit. The right shit and the wrong shit. Use all that shit in order to clean up the dirt.
Facts. Yeah, because I'm man, I already feel it's time. So much so I keep telling people it's time. And it almost becomes harder and harder for me to even like engage in the daily, their system at all. Like every day it gets harder and harder. So I've never been one to work a job. I always knew I was going to, be running my own thing. That was just the mindset I had since a kid. But just to see the system like really crumbling around us, but you see the distractions are only getting stronger and stronger. They're trying to pull out as many stops as they can. Can you talk on that a little bit?
Well, they're gonna always send some low rank, low level, poorly educated imbeciles to confront you. Right? And it's because it's your responsibility in your God form, recognize who you is, to let them motherfuckers say what they want to say and continue doing what the fuck you was gonna do. Right? I'm on here giving away free information on a motherfucking university level or higher.
Nah.
And motherfuckers want to find reasons to tear me down. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna keep giving this information out, and if you got a problem with it, you got a right to have a problem with it, and I have a right to not give a fuck. So I already know it come with the territory. You're gonna be falsely accused. You're gonna be slandered. You're gonna be talked about. You're gonna be called names. You're gonna be the outcast. Because everybody gonna be mad because you the one that did it. They wanted to be the one to do the stuff that you did, but they didn't have the ambition that you had. So expect all that. This is what my mama told me. She said expect all that. Because in the Bible they talked about Jesus. So if they talk about Jesus, what make you think they not gonna talk about you? Right? Because they believe that Jesus to be their God.
Right.
So if they're going to abuse their own God, what much fuck you make them gonna think about our gods? They don't give a fuck about us. Right? So the ones of us who know who we are, as DMX say, recognize that they don't know who we be. But real recognize real, and we know who look familiar.
Right.
Right? And they say, yeah, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You ain't catch Jay, did you? And yay, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil.
Damn.
Right? Why? Because Rod and his staff is on the job. They done fucked up now.
Damn. See, that's that connection that I'm talking about.
See, all the time they thinking that the rod and the staff is the crook and the flail, but the rod is a man and the staff is the support system.
Yea, though I walk through the valley. Oh my.
And again, I say yea is right.
Thanks. Thanks.
So we're gonna take our yays and we're gonna put down their nays. That's what we're gonna do.
Right.
Override their authority from a superior position of right, telling the truth, challenging their bullshit in front of their face, not behind their back. We ain't covering nothing up. We ain't running. We ain't ducking, and we ain't hiding. Motherfucker, we just telling you how it's going to be as we lay down the law on the land, air, and the motherfucking water.
Right on,
bro. Restore the sisters back to righteousness. Bring this motherfucker back to paradise and get you parasites the fuck out the way. One way or another motherfucking other.
Seal. Yes, sir. That's real.
That's why I say Kyrie Irving said what he needed to say. See, y'all be taking everything and y'all don't realize that sometimes you got to move back in chess in order to go forward.
You don't see it like that though. Right in the moment, you're not seeing the bigger picture unless you're literally on that level. Like,
because everybody got to see the after the fact. Hindsight is 20/20.
Mm-hmm.
Foresight is myopic. It's short. You can't see very far in front of you. So you have to look back in order to see forward. That's the only way to see further.
Right.
Because ain't nothing new under the sun.
Kyrie has been dropping for the couple years, really just kind of putting info out there about us being the
Carol Burns is spelled B-A-R-N-E-S.
B-A-R.
B-A-R-N-E-S.
Okay, good.
Kelly wrote Burns.
But yeah, like, and it's kind of ironic. Like, I just remember because I've been out doing some research on the Hitler, on Hitler and Third Reich. They're, you know, the true what they was really doing back then.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things he's recorded is, and now if it's true or not, but I've seen it in multiple books where it says basically World War II when the world finds true Jews. Now we have somebody out here kind of, we've had people in the past, but we've never had somebody who's had the type of influence that Ye has. I mean, we've had even an NBA player in the past called him out on the Sharif Muhammad, I think. And he got kicked out. He was like dropping 20 points. But,
remember Craig Hodges?
Craig Hodges, that's him. That's what I'm talking about. But he changed his name, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, to his Muslim name. I can't remember what it was right now, but yeah.
Then you had the other brother, Raul Rauf.
That's what I'm talking about, Raul Rauf, the 3-point champion that was just dropping like 20 a night, and then he got put out the league. Hitler, the Black Magician.
Mm-hmm. Look, Adolf Hitler was a bad motherfucker. Adolf Hitler worked his way up from the dirt. Same way Joseph Stalin. No, Vladimir Lenin. Lenin worked his way up from the dirt. He studied his way to greatness. When you read the story, everybody say all he was doing was studying the problems of his country. The whole communist regime was funded by America the whole time. The Cold War, because they wasn't gonna never bomb on each other because America was bankrolling Russia the whole time.
Well, really Britain, but yeah.
The inmates, they're gonna have to get what you call a cutout. A cutout is to keep them from recidivism. It is to reorganize their life, and most of them won't be going back to their old community because they're gonna have to start over, and they're gonna have to be reoriented into society without being under the jurisdiction of these people. We didn't need prisons, so whatever the fuck we need prisons for now, we can fix that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Prisons in America ain't 200 years old yet. Might not be 150. First prison was built in Pennsylvania.
First capital.
Then over there in Europe, they had dungeons. We have dungeons over here in our castle. We didn't lock no motherfucker up in the basement. That's some real cocky ass sadistic bullshit.
You know what that take me right back to is that show Lovecraft Country. Like, we talk about that show every time I talk to you. But yeah, that, and then when you were talking about how they pick your bloodline to basically steal your rights, and that's what that show was about too. And then even the first jails with them, like them dungeons. It's so crazy how they put it back. They give us our history right back in our face and all of they outputs.
Look, if they can't guarantee your safety while you in prison, they're not supposed to keep you in prison. And guess what? They can't guarantee nobody in safety that's in there.
So how they gonna keep?
That's right there alone by itself is the forfeiture of their jurisdiction as the Department of Corrections.
No, they really can't. I mean, it's it's dangerous as hell in there.
Man, motherfuckers get stabbed, raped, beat the fuck up, kicked downstairs, bopped in the head with mop handles, all kind of shit. They can't keep you safe in there.
Not at all.
You come out that motherfucker looking like a pin cushion or a pinata.
And looking 20 years older than what you were or what you are.
Yeah, you supposed to come out of prison preserved, not motherfucking stressed the fuck out worse than you was in the street.
Right. I always wish that on nobody for real.
So the question about the umbilical cord around the neck. Sometimes the baby is in the uterus is moving around, and they'll sometimes wrap the umbilical cord around the neck. So when they come out, it's wrapped around their neck from them moving in the uterus. Like I remember hearing my mom tell my father, "I'm jumping around in there like a monkey." When she was pregnant, because I was doing backflips off the side of the uterus. I was having a blast. Shit.
In the primordial water.
Yeah.
Appreciate the question, Spooky Bay. Okay. It's a good one. Let me see what this one's about.
Medusa was a Psi priestess. That's why her name is Medusa. Medu in Egypt is 10. 10 is the highest rank. Psi, look up the Psi symbol. It's the birth priestesses were Psi priestesses. So when they say Medusa, they're saying that she is the highest ranked of the Psi priestesses, which are known as the birth priestesses or the doulas. They were the Gorgon priestesses by tribal affiliation in Greece. That's what the Greeks referred to the three sisters as the Gorgons. And so Medusa is actually the leader of the Gorgon. Now we got to flip to the right side up to get to the right side of the infinity loop to ascend to the 5D.
Wow.
Right? So now we ascend to the 5D because I'm telling the motherfucker everything you need to know to get his shit straight. I don't care if they talk about me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's their personal problem.
That's right. That's facts.
If they really had a real issue, they'll pull the fuck up. I ain't hard to find.
Right.
I ain't ducking, I ain't hiding.
I heard
But
that.
I'm gonna tell them everything they need to do to get their own shit together. This shit is over with.
Right.
But they don't gotta believe me. But when they watch, they gonna see.
That's right.
No doubt about it.
Right? So mama said your job gonna be hard, but you a hard worker.
That's right.
I said, what that means? She said, you smart, you'll figure it out. So that pissed me off as usual. I ain't that smart. I know a whole bunch